everybody, welcome back to Rubbing His Racing Podcast. It's myself, Spider, we got Quigs, and we got Moonhead, then we got Owen as the voice of God somewhere, making sure this thing doesn't look like it's shot on a potato. And after this weekend, our first sponsor is particularly salient. That's Body Armor Flash I.V. I wouldn't have made it through this weekend without Body Armor Flash I.V. Flash I.V. is packed with electrolytes, delivering faster, longer-lasting hydration without any artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners. Whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat at a modified naval base turned into a NASCAR track where you couldn't get to the concession stands, but Flash IV managed to get into some fountain water and at least provide you with something to get through the rest of the day. I don't want to be too specific, but that was one of the things it was really came in handy with. So if you want to work hard and hydrate hard with Body Armor Flash IV, make sure you go grab one at 7-Eleven or wherever they're sold, because they are lifesavers as far as I'm concerned, and also delicious on top of the whole thing. Thank you for your continued support, Body Armor. We love you mucho. Hey, Spider, how we feeling coming back from San Diego? How'd that red eye treat you?
Good. Red eye, red neck. I mean, I got sunburnt heavy in San Diego, but it was all worth it in my opinion. I thought it was a great event. Beautiful city. I've long wanted to get to San Diego, and for good reason this past weekend. Congratulations to Corey Heim, who we'll have on the show here in just a couple minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to speak more about it. How are you doing, Large?
I'm doing pretty well. I thought it was the worst race I ever attended, and I've only been to like 50, maybe 50 or 60 NASCAR races since we started doing this thing. I know that the majority of people who have podcasts and who are talking heads and who are on social and all that stuff have mentioned a lot of the positives about the race. And all of them are correct. I thought the racing from a TV perspective, which is, you know, the number outside of driver safety, the number one thing that NASCAR wants to do is put on a show for its broadcast partners. And I think they really hit the nail on the head with that. But I can tell you from a fan's perspective, it seems like all these people who've been speaking on behalf of NASCAR and stuff have said, you know, we got some complaints and whatnot. I'm one of the complaints, and I don't think that should be pushed to the side. It was run at certain times embarrassingly bad. As far as getting anything without having to wait for an hour, as far as getting anywhere without having to walk a mile, just in increments. Listen, if a fat bastard like me has to do 25,000 fucking steps in a day, I just don't consider that a good time. There's certain things that need to be worked out, like, oh, well, if you don't want to wait in traffic, why don't you take the ferry? It took us 2 hours to get on the fucking ferry, and we got to the other side to Coronado. It was then a 1.5 mile walk to the base. Little things like that may not mean anything to you, but I paid $1,000 to fly there, $1,000 to stay, and then $1,000 for some hanger fucking tickets. The food was absolutely disgraceful, with one large screen TV and no view of the track itself. I don't know where they hit it on the head. The fan thing was great. They had a big fan zone and all that shit, and it was, you know, blinking lights and all that shit. But there was also like a vending machine selling warm egg salad sandwiches that was getting ravaged by people because they couldn't fucking wait online for an hour for a subpar cheeseburger. So I really think that, you know, maybe they're going to go back and work out some of the kinks. And if we were to go back, we would do some things differently, Spider and I, as far as where we stayed and shit like that. But for me, what a terrible fucking experience going to that race. The only time I enjoyed it was the final stage on Sunday, because I was already back in my hotel room eating a French dip in my bed. And that's how I felt about it. Do you echo that at all, Spider, or am I way off base here?
I kind of think you're being a pussy, to be honest with you.
Okay, give it to me.
You know, you go like this is a one-off event. It's a flagship, unique event. It is. They
say they're doing it next year.
Right.
So then next year
will be smoother. We'll have some of this shit worked out. You will not be eating egg salad sandwiches from a vending machine in the sun. I agree. Those things are inexcusable. I think it's a little bit concerning that NASCAR thought that the infrastructure they had in place, whether it's bathrooms, whether it's food vendors, whether it's water access, on day one, on Saturday, was enough. That's a little bit of a concern. I'll give you that, Large. Thanks. What I will say is, what did they do the following day? They did what they could. In less than 12 hours notice, there was more food trucks. They brought in more facilities. They tried to build even more infrastructure. So One, I'm going to be critical. They probably were foolish for thinking what they had was enough, especially if they're going to go on their social channels and pimp that this is a sold out race. You better be prepared for that. But I will give them credit for adapting after they, saw the shortcomings. They tried to be better. Any other event you go to, Large, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like you said, sure, they might do it next year, but guess what? Most of these people are going to that event 1 year. If they went this year, they might not go back next year. And maybe next year they go for the first time. My point is they're going to have a different experience. This is no different to me than going on a big flagship event. Let's say like going to a golf tournament, going to Augusta, going to Disneyland. You're expected to walk a long time. Like, that is not anything breaking news. I mean, I kind of knew what we were signing up for. Shame on you, Large. You got. I'm not done.
No.
I'm not done.
No. Okay, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
You said you've been to 50 to 60 races. Shame on you. Your ass should have known better to wear sunscreen or bring a hat or some sort of sun protection. Like, you got to know this shit. I was not expecting it to be fucking rainbows and unicorns and puppies the whole weekend. Of course, there were going to be trials and tribulations and learning and growing pains. And overall, I think it was a great event. I do kind of probably agree with you. It probably the place to be was watching it on TV. But that can be said about pretty much every other race course. And to me, it's important that we experience other markets that are otherwise neglected. Southern California, I mean, look at what they did to Auto Club. They tore that track down. That shit was beautiful. If this is the next best thing we got, Southern California showed up for it. I showed up for it. New York showed up for it. I still think it was a good event. You have to be realistic with your expectations.
I got to be honest, Spider. You have to be realistic with your expectations, but you also sometimes have to get your money's worth. I remember the first year in Chicago, you were there with me, and we paid, I mean, we can tell people how much we paid for those suites in Chicago. It was thousands. And once the rain started, there was like people running through grabbing bottles of alcohol, and it was an absolute shit show. And then when we went back the second year with even more heavier rain, they had to put sandbags at our suite because everybody was walking around in an inch or two of somebody else's water. That's unacceptable to me for the amount of money that we paid. We scale it down a little bit now. I realize what you go when you get to a track that there's going to be a lot of walking. There's also like trams and shit. Those trams were like 3 golf carts put together. They held 18 people at a time for a line that was 400 people deep. So it was like, do you want to wait online for a tram for an hour, or do you want to walk the 25, 30 minutes, you fat bastard, meaning me? And so it was always one of those things where you had to walk. And as a result, I walked 8 miles at the track. I didn't want to. Some people had scooters. Some people didn't. A lot of people who are talking, like Jeff Gluck, very positive on the whole thing on the teardown. One of the premier voices in NASCAR. He was very positive on it. But when we bumped into him, he's like, I'm being lit up with people who are saying that this fucking sucks. And he was one of the only people that said it. On the podcast, he gave all the flowers in the world that he wanted to. He enjoyed the event, maybe even said he wanted to go back. Denny Hamlin, same thing. It was, great event and all that kind of shit. And obviously, Denny was in a different situation than the greater unwashed, including us. And I think the people who went there for the first time, never been to a race, and just wanted to sit in a bleacher and see 100 yards. I don't like road courses to begin with, so it was the odds were stacked against them. But I think the infrastructure really needs to be looked at, and I don't think it's going to be looked at if all people do on podcasts and social media is blow fucking rainbows up NASCAR's ass, because it was a waste of money for me to be there. It was a waste of fucking money. There, like when Gluck had a guy say, "Yeah, I had a $1,000 ticket to the same hangar club that I was in on Saturday." He's like, "This is so disgraceful. I'm not coming back tomorrow." That should get a lot of fucking press. Like, make that better. To bring in food vendors, there were more people on Sunday probably than there were on Saturday. And you saw it. You couldn't get a fucking T-shirt, much less a cheeseburger. And then the food that we had in the hangar club, if you want to get like, was inedible. You know what I ate that day? A coleslaw sandwich. That's it, right? I mean, everything, I just didn't have a good time. I thought that the engineering and logistical marvel of putting that thing together was wonderful. Corey Day gets a fucking manhole cover, you know, in the first lap. But no, that's okay. That happens, apparently. Like, there are certain things that just went wrong. I don't know why more people aren't making a stink out of it. I am. I had a fucking terrible time. I had a fucking terrible time getting there, a fucking terrible time getting back from there, and a fucking terrible time while I was at there. I don't know where the fucking gray area is for most people. I thought it was terrible. Great on TV, horrible to go to, period. Maybe next year it'll be better. If we don't get to go next year, I'm okay with it. If we do get to go next year, if they do it again next year, I'll play it a little bit different. And I don't think they should go back next year because it kind of ruins that one-off 250th birthday America Go Team type thing, which I loved. You know, it sort of like cheapens that. So that's what I have to say about this race.
Yeah, I mean,
are you gonna call me pussy again, you jerk?
No, my experience was obviously a little bit different. I stayed until the end of the race, and then I was just exploring the Coronado Island or Peninsula, if you want to get technical, whatever it is. I was exploring Coronado kind of by the ferry landing after the race, and the vibe was not people like rushing out of there. It was people like, you know, shopping, eating, dining, waiting for the ferry lines to die down. And that's what I did. And to me, I think it's wildly unique. This is the only time I could ever remember getting to a racetrack by way of the boat. And I don't know, like I knew I was going to have to walk. I do agree with you, Large. The shuttle thing is inexcusable. For them to think that that was going to work for a sold out crowd is like highly, highly, highly concerning. And then the same thing with the food. The food was like, you know, it was like you were literally in a desert or on a stranded island. Like there was such a shortage of food and drinks available. So, yeah, I mean, those things, obviously, I think it's fair to have higher expectations going into it. But everything else, like regarding the walk and stuff, and the stuff you mentioned was a lot of it was the Chicago criticism, which didn't happen in San Diego. San Diego's weather was lovely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it wasn't rain. And I'm not saying that all the blame goes to NASCAR. I'm not saying all the I had some guy send me, what's this guy named Reed? Large, I just want to report from Turn 10. The fans in this section are under warfare from seagulls dropping shit all over us. I'm still alive, but some laps to go. Like, how would NASCAR know that the wind coupled with like the turns nests that they may have disrupted would cause a bunch of seagulls to happen to be over Turn 10 shitting on the crowd? What a fucking, you know, like that's not NASCAR's fault. That shit tends to happen. But there are other things that I thought were kind of avoidable. Maybe not sell that many tickets. And I'm thinking out loud here. I'm just saying maybe get it to a point where everybody gets to have what they want to have at the place as opposed to packing it beyond capacity, because they took a lot of money from people to be there. And, you know, I personally didn't get my money's worth. So fuck them. But again, great on TV. I loved seeing Corey Heim win. We have Corey Heim coming up in just a couple of minutes, and I'm absolutely fucking loving the fact that he's here. And before we go any further, I just want to tell you guys about Shady Rays. All right, guys, quick question. How are Shady Rays basically the same quality as the $200 sunglasses I used to buy? And I'm not exaggerating. They feel every bit as premium as the expensive brands I've owned. Meanwhile, I'm wearing Shady Rays to the track, on the boat, at the game, on the job site, because if I dropped them in the ocean, they replaced them. If I knocked them off the ferry going to Coronado Island, they replaced them. If I sit on them one day, they replaced them. And here's the crazy part. They're actually premium. Polarized lenses that cut clear hard, super clear optics, durable frames with solid hinges, clean classic styles that look sharp without trying too hard. So if you're outside on the water, in the sun, driving every day, you need shades that actually perform. Go to shadyrays.com, grab a pair, and get sunglasses with lost and broken protection. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com, use code RUBBIN for 50% off 2 or more polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Thank you very much for your continued support, Shady Rays. They make Spider look more handsome every time I see him. All right, boys, outside of me being an absolute twat complaining about this, was it okay to watch on TV? I thought that they did a pretty good job again on TV.
Yeah, I mean, it was an awesome scene, good race. Like one of those things where it's, yeah, if you're not there at the race, I had no complaints about it.
Moon, what you think? By the way, Moon, yeah. I haven't talked to you in a while. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think the track was really cool. Obviously, you know, the manhole covers and the extended red flags and long caution laps kind of sucked in some parts of the O'Reilly race, but other than that, I thought it was awesome. I do agree, though, that I think it should kind of be a one-off because I feel like America 250 and all that, you're never going to make it as cool as it was for the first time, I don't think. So maybe they could just keep a weekend open to do some sort of street course or something somewhere cool every year. But yeah, I'm kind of with Quigs. I didn't have any complaints. I actually thought the track raced really well, and all the races were exciting.
I think the drivers said too, like the different surfaces that they were doing. There was surprisingly more passing, even though it was being called such a narrow racetrack before anybody got onto it. It seemed like everything clicked outside of Corey Day, but everything clicked as far as the track was concerned. So they were able to pull that off seamlessly. And again, keeping the drivers safe, which was a big priority. I guess my comfort is a very low priority on that list. I'm starting to realize that now. But we started the weekend with one of my favorite nicknames right now with Lane Van Rigsbergen. Lane Riggs, man, is he's a fan favorite. How do you feel about this kid, Spider, and why aren't we talking about him more?
I feel really good about him. I feel like we've been talking about him quite a bit. I'm gonna ask Corey Heim about Lane Riggs and some kind of comparisons I see between them. But yeah, I think Lane Riggs has been class of the truck series, and I'm excited to see what he kind of develops into. I do think he might be potentially the guy for front row. I mean, it sounds like there's been rumors regarding Noah potentially leaving at the conclusion of this year. So if that's the case, it would be a guy like Lane Riggs that I expect to replace Noah Gragson.
Yeah, and I think he's one of those guys that has enough personality to follow through with it too. I've seen a couple of the people that have been on his cars, including Bare Knuckle Boxing, BKB, which I do some work with. So it's kind of cool to see the kid align himself with some fun sponsors. So it could be something that we're watching for a long time. We had made a bet before this weekend, Spider, who's going to have a better finish, Frankie Muniz or Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson did not finish. Frankie Muniz with a P20 finish. So Malcolm in the middle can also put in his belt that he fucking owned Jimmy at Coronado Naval Base. I'm happy for him. How do you feel about it?
I feel good. What did I win for predicting that correctly?
Out of maybe some sunscreen because the back of your neck got fucking burnt too, even though you're throwing bombs at my big bald head. So Denny Hamlin now. I mean, the big winner of the weekend is obviously Corey Heim, but Denny Hamlin has 10 wins this season, 4 as a driver and 6 as an owner. He cuts the lead to single digits against Tyler Reddick by pulling off a P14 finish while Tyler cuts a tire and falls all the way to the back. Denny is top of the world. Right. Like, is this becoming just a real story? And we're going to talk to Heim about it, too. 2311 at one point was first, second, third, and eighth, I believe, before Tyler cut the tire. Is this just like a dream scenario for 2311? And do you see it coming to an end? Sort of like how Trackhouse was such a disruptor. We were like, oh, they're the next big thing, and everything kind of comes back down to earth. But do you find that 2311 now is really putting in some roots to becoming the fourth like the big four in NASCAR?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't know if you were asking me. Forgive me if I just interrupted anyone. But yeah, 2311, I think, is going to be probably one of the most competitive teams, if not the best team next year. I mean, look at what they're capable of this year, Large. I mean, between Tyler Reddick, early success, and then now you have Bubba finishing second, Corey Heim coming out of nowhere winning this race. I'm extremely bullish on what they're building. And I think they're doing it the right way. You know, at first, again, we were talking back a couple of years ago at the inception of these new teams, whether it was 2311 or Trackhouse. And it seemed like 2311 was kind of slow and low, not really flashy, just doing the right things, even if they were boring. While Trackhouse was trying to be like, look at us. And it seems like it's paid off, and 2311 has done things the right way. And I'm really, really excited to see them at their full potential and what they're capable of moving into the future.
Am I getting too excited for this, Moonhead? Have you seen it kind of come and go? Penske's starting to fall off. 2311 starting to get, some momentum behind it, and I'm getting just way too excited because everyone's wearing brand new Jordans.
No, I agree. I think that there's something incredible happening there. And I mean, every team we see it goes through their rough patches, even the teams you wouldn't expect. But I think for the foreseeable future, 2311 is going to be a threat. And then I just think the momentum is with Toyota as a whole. I think that the JGR bunch, some of them maybe aren't having the seasons that they want, but they all have speed every week, and I think that that's big. And then on the 2311 side, having Heim come in and win, not even being full time, and then Riley Herbst was running fifth with not that many laps left, and right. I know people have kind of given him shit all year, but it looks like everybody at 2311 is kind of firing on all cylinders.
Also, who's doing better is Eric Jones. Quiggs, how do you feel about 2311 this season? And I throw the Eric Jones thing in there before I went to you, because I haven't talked to you in a week. But how do you feel about it? Do you think it's like a real contender on being one of the big three, maybe even supplanting or replacing? I shouldn't say that because that's not going to happen. But the big three becoming the big four, and 2311 filling that fourth spot.
Yeah, I think they're there. Like, I think they're in that fourth spot and not going to go away anytime soon. And gonna be a real problem for the guys that are in the top three of, like, I don't know. I buy all the stock I could in them.
How do you feel about SVG? So it wasn't his fault what had happened. Austin Hill had won the O'Reilly race. It was pretty cool to see, a little bit emotional and all that kind of stuff. And then the next day he came in and, I don't know, they keep putting out those memes of him with the Osama bin Laden beard and whatnot, right? So just an absolute terrorist on the track. Taking out SVG and Connor Zilic. We obviously look at the lines before the following week. SVG is minus money to win at Sonoma again. SVG needed to have really good performances both at Coronado and Sonoma to perhaps make it to the chase. Do you think SVG is done for the season now because of the DNF at Sonoma? Do you think that he can make up some of this ground? Where do we feel about Shane Van Gisbergen right now?
I think he needs to win next week. Mm-hmm. And we'll probably have a different tone about it. But no, I mean, I wouldn't say he's done anyway, just by the way he's been sneaking out, like, decent finishes on tracks that you wouldn't expect him to. Uh-huh. But yeah, I think a win next week, and he continues doing what he's been doing for about the last 10 weeks. He's definitely got a great shot at making the playoffs.
I almost felt so, but does him not being in the field, and I'll bring it up to Corey, but I won't harp on it because I don't want to cheapen this or put in kind of asterisk next to this young man's win. But wasn't it more fun to see a bunch of people in contention than watch a traditional road course with SVG being out? Like, that was a fucking electric ending, and I'm not sure we would have got that if it wasn't for Austin Hill, taking my $5,000 in cash and putting SVG into the fucking wall. Didn't you think it was a better race without SVG, or am I just being a hater?
I think it definitely was. I mean, like, when there's such an overwhelming favorite like that to win the race, like, we got on stage with Mamba at the fan zone before the race, Large, and I almost felt bad how critical I was of SVG. I was speaking about SVG like you would on this podcast. Like, I was just saying, I hope it's literally anyone other than SVG today. And I mean, that's just a testament to how skilled he is. If anything, it's like he's so dominant, you're just rooting for there to be some sort of alternative storyline. And I'm very happy that that's what we got this past weekend. I think your criticism of this event would have sounded a lot louder and resonated a lot more if it were a Kiwi winning this race.
Yeah.
USA. I mean, I don't think that should be discounted. Having like a young red-blooded American kid come in and I don't know, win the race made for a more intriguing ending for me.
I mean, it's like Scotty Scheffler, where it's like, I don't know, if it's cool to watch him play and it's cool to see the greatness, but on a Sunday, it's like, if he's 8 strokes ahead of everyone, maybe it's cooler if he wasn't involved and you have 6 different guys battling for the lead.
Does it put an asterisk on the win then? And again, I'm saying that without Corey getting to hear me. Does it cheapen the win to have a road course win with SVG in the wall?
No. Because, I mean, when SVG's at a road course, it's his to lose. But there's so many variables in NASCAR that it's like there's more ways than not that things will happen that end up making you lose, then you have a smooth race.
If it went down differently, I definitely think there would be an argument for cheapening the race. Like if someone intentionally wrecked SVG with like 2 laps to go, or like put him in the wall or something. But no, like to Quiggs's point, I think this was just like organic, natural racing, and like things like that are inevitable. It just so happened to be SVG involved this time by.
Let's talk about foreigners with Kevin Magnussen. How did you guys feel about that jawing that he had with Noah Gragson at the end, and just the overall disrespect he had shown towards NASCAR? I think you could tell how I feel about it. I feel he should be fucking invited back. But maybe I'm being a pussy again. How do you feel about it, Spider?
I mean, listen, it's no secret I love Noah Gragson. I don't think that's a surprise. I think he's great. He's a good friend of ours. But that being said, it was kind of funny / entertaining to see this. We just did a podcast last week with Daniel Suarez where we're talking about how let these guys air out their grievances. And that's exactly what this was. So I enjoyed it. I wish it was under different circumstances. I wish this was like Noah going for the win and upset that Kevin wrecked him. I did see this guy, Colby Evans, on Twitter post a side-by-side between Talladega Nights with Will Ferrell getting the guy in his face, and then Noah with the same exact pose having Kevin in his face. It's just ironic to me because I'm pretty sure that Noah has said that Talladega Nights is his favorite movie of all time, which I know is extremely polarizing in the sport. But yeah, I mean, I wish it were under better circumstances. Kind of tough to be racing like that for like what did they finish 25th or something like that? So yeah, not great. I wish Noah was running better, but I don't know. I mean, he's got to figure it out. This should not be. He needs to be focusing more on like preparation instead of post-race retaliation. And it seems like.
But should he be invited back? I thought it was a little
Kevin?
disrespectful. Yeah.
No, I mean, what? Respectfully, who cares? He should absolutely be invited back.
Man, we're being infiltrated, Spider. I don't need this. There's
no respect in the sport. I mean, it's like it's on the drivers to kind of police themselves and work it out. So yeah, like there are going to be disagreements. I mean, if we're starting to like ban guys following a disagreement, what kind of precedent is that? If anything, invite them back and let's see if this shit boils over. That's where I sit, at least.
I think Noah said it on his radio, but he's like, you give these European guys a bumper and they lose their minds. He's like, they get told that they can make a little contact and that's all they want to do.
Yeah, and I had heard that too. And honestly, like I say tongue in cheek, obviously I don't want this guy banned from NASCAR or anything, but it almost seems like you invite somebody over for dinner and he slaps your wife for overcooking the steak type thing. He's a guest in our house. Treat us with a little bit more fucking respect. Am I way off base here, Moonhead?
No.
Or Quiggs?
No, but it's just the way he was like, it'd be like yelling at the wife the whole time saying she doesn't know how to cook.
Yeah, I was insulted by it. What did you think, Moon?
No, I'm very anti Magnussen now. I mean, that was just, he showed his ass. Like I understand why people maybe took issue with what Noah did on the track, but I feel like there was a lot more to the story than even we got to see to have both of them that mad at each other. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think he should be banned, but I do think he should have been going home with a broken nose or something, because you can't come in here on your first race and just fucking annihilate a full-time guy and not face any sort of consequence. We have NASCAR fans all year breaking down SMT data with drivers to see what's intentional and what's not on Twitter, and then they're fine with this. I don't understand. There needs to be some sort of precedent set. But and then the interviews, the just condescending tone he had about NASCAR in general, where he was just like, "Oh yeah, this is what you guys do over here."
Fuck this
like,
guy.
No, like this.
Fuck this guy.
If Shane Van Gisbergen wrecks the fuck out of somebody, I feel like he's earned it at this point. He's come over here, he's been respectful, he's been leaned on, and he's still kicked their ass. Kevin Magnussen, I don't even know who he is. I guess he ran F1, but he fucking comes in and is beefing with Gragson for 30th. Like, I feel like that's a little bit different.
Yeah, he's not invited back to the fucking party on our aircraft carrier. Fuck Kevin Magnussen and fuck
on
San
a
Diego.
military base too. Like, that should be looked into.
250th
honestly,
birthday.
pull his visa.
Yeah,
Pull his visa.
Yeah,
Pull his hard card.
put the whole fucking NASCAR audience in the cuck chair, and no one's complaining about it. Fuck this guy. He's now taking.
I mean, listen, I want to be clear. I wasn't rooting for him by any means. Like, I'm rooting for Noah. I was upset that Noah's day was interrupted by this guy, but at the same time, like, this shouldn't be a storyline in terms of like Noah. I need him to be driving better where we can avoid shit like this. That's what I'm saying.
I feel bad for Connor Zilic, man. This kid just needs a break. He's pulling double duty again this weekend in Sonoma, so hopefully he grabs maybe a win there, although SVG's pulling double duty as well. But 4 DNFs in the last 5 starts. I'm hoping it doesn't break this kid's his spirit, because I'm still a huge believer in him. And we were lucky enough to see him. He was doing like some stage work beforehand, doing a lot of like promotion for this thing. I don't know, just a wonderful kid. I'm hoping for more from him. How do we feel about Heim versus Hocevar? How do we feel about maybe being able to kind of tuck in and seeing these guys get petty on social media and then actually do stuff to each other on the track? Like, some old scores are going to be settled. We're about to talk to Corey about it, and I can give you an idea of what Corey's about to say. He never forgets. He does not forget. We're about to talk to how Tyler Reddick had raced him at the end there, and he's like, I owe Tyler one. Like, Corey Heim keeps a mental Rolodex about how people have raced him, throughout his career. And I believe Carson Hocevar does too, and plus with his reckless type way, this could be something that we tuck into for years to come. How are we feeling about Heim Hocevar? Not who you got. I'm just saying, how do we feel about this rivalry?
I'm pumped. I mean, I said it a couple weeks ago that I said 2 things. I said, with the silly season 48, I think when everyone was talking about Corey Day, they were talking about the wrong Corey, and it should have been Corey Heim and Connor Zilic in those conversations. Well, now, just a couple weeks later, Corey Heim gets his first Cup win. I've been high on this kid for a while, and I also said that I'm excited to see with this next generation of NASCAR drivers coming into the sport that there's going to be some great storylines and rivalries that continue. We saw Hocevar and Heim kind of have rivalry earlier in their careers, and now hopefully we'll be able to get to see that lasting on the Cup level for years to come. I think both these guys are wildly talented drivers, so it should be good to see what they're capable of here into the future, and I don't expect these storylines to go anywhere. We'll have Corey Heim speak a little bit about Carson Hocevar, but yeah, I can't imagine this storyline just dies. If anything, it will get louder.
And Carson was pretty vocal. I don't even know what podcast it was on, but I'm starting to see some clips dribble out in the past couple of days. So he did very well in that podcast too, by the way. How do you guys feel about Heim Hocevar going forward?
I mean, I think it's great. It's 2 guys that'll be around for a long time. Hocevar will have a little bit of a problem of like, it's hard to have rivals if everyone is your rival.
Yeah.
They'll have to kind of narrow it down, and there'll have to probably be more things. I think there's an ounce of like playfulness in it where like Hocevar's sending him a Dexter meme, and it's like, I would hope there's some sarcasm in this if you're like basically sending him a serial killer thing.
Yeah.
But they're young and on the internet, and that's probably how they handle it. But no, I think it's great. I think those are 2 guys that will be battling for a long time.
And I don't think you need to pick a side, right? Like here, I think a lot of times it's one of those things because it's such a wait and see with 2 young kids who both have 1 Cup Series win to see which way this goes, to see if they're even on the same playing field once they start racing against each other consistently. How do you feel about Heim and Hocevar, Moonhead? Do you think that it winds up being something real on the track where they just start sending each other every week?
I mean, yeah, I think so. So far, Corey's kind of been the only one who has actually acted on, I feel like, anything with Hocevar. I know we talk about him every week on here. Somebody who's mad at him and threatening to wreck him. But this is the first time I really remember somebody kind of waiting and settling a score with him, because that probably sent a message, or that probably hurt a little bit more than getting wrecked for 20th. Or even wrecked in a truck race, getting run over in contention to win a race as big as what we had on Sunday probably stings a little bit. So I think it's real. I think it's probably going to be a little cringy at times because of what Quigg said, them being young and on the internet. Yeah. Like, I think it's not going to be like Dale and Rusty or Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski. It's probably going to be more of a meme war. But that'll probably keep the young people interested, and it'll be exciting. I mean, if they keep wrecking the shit out of each other, that could be awesome. So
I'll stop blowing 23:11 in just 1 second. Bubba Wallace from 2 laps down gets a P2 finish. By the way, T's and P's to Freddie Kraft. Has something going on. I know he wasn't on door bumper because he's on throat rest. He has something going on in his throat. Good friend
I didn't
of
know
ours.
that.
Yeah,
Sending our best to Freddie. Speaking of Bubba, I got to San Diego, Large, a couple hours before you did, and I'm just walking around the hotel outside there exploring the city, and this guy, someone yells, "Yo, Spider!" I cranked my neck. It's just Bubba Wallace. It was awesome. So good to catch Bubba right away as I made it to San Diego.
By the way, when you get to San Diego to the race, they gave you memorial packs, like little cards, memorial cards. And Spider and I didn't get any, right? Because there was 2 million people ahead of us online. Spider went around the whole time during the race, and if you had one of those see-through backpacks with the cards inside of it, Spider would go over to you casually, be like, "Oh my God, what are those packs?" And someone would be like, "Oh, well, they were giving them out." Oh man, I think at one point he said, "My nephew would love one of those. I'm so sorry I missed out." He wound up getting like 4 or 5 packs from just people who were walking around the fucking race.
I got a Butcher, Brad K, Joey Logano, and Austin Cindric. 4 total packs. Thanks so much to everyone who gave their pack. Yeah, I was really trying to get the race winner. A Corey Heim, one of these would have been sick, but what can you do, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is. Let's talk about gentlemen. How do you guys feel about Tyler Reddick? How do you feel about the move that Tyler Reddick made towards the end there when Race Corey, what he thought was dirty, Tyler I'm talking about, thought that he was dirty towards Corey, so he sort of hit the reset button and said, let's race these last couple of laps where he thought he could catch up, and he couldn't. Corey got out there into clean air, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and just took off, and Tyler didn't have a shot, cut the tire, finishes 25th, and Corey gets his first win. Carson Hocevar, in that podcast that I had mentioned before, had said that Reddick's move might devalue how people see drivers' desire to win, which I don't think is a truism at all. But how do you feel about Tyler being probably overly classy towards his teammate next year in that move that he did on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the type of guy Tyler Reddick is. He seems like one of the cleaner drivers in the field, especially when it comes to a teammate. I don't know how many other guys in the field would have done this. I don't even know really how impactful this was. Corey Heim seemed like he was running really, really good there at the end and was going to test Tyler Reddick regardless. So, yeah, I don't know. But unfortunate luck for Tyler Reddick with the tire going down and losing all those spots. But, yeah, I mean, to me, the takeaway is just how good 2311 is or is going to be. Riley Herbst especially, I think he's a guy we haven't really mentioned. But finishing 8th, he was running up there up front towards the front for a good period of the day, and especially late in the race. And then for Corey Heim to win, obviously, Bubba Wallace to finish second after being a couple laps down. Just really, really bullish on 2311.
Does Tyler devalue how much racers want to win in your eyes?
No, I think that's a stupid thing. I mean,
okay.
Like, I don't know. To me, we've seen Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell wreck each other towards the end of the race and kind of come away empty-handed. So this is a much smarter move, in my opinion. The 2311 still got the race win, and it ultimately was Corey Heim, which made for a great story with his first win. But if this were an instance where they didn't have cars up front, whether it be Corey or Bubba or Reddick before he blew the tire, yeah, it probably would have been a dumb move, but I don't think it cheapens the win at all, or I don't agree with that narrative.
I guess I should say then, I'll pose like this. Do you lose respect for Tyler Reddick on making that move? Because that seems to be what Hocevar was implying. And again, we're talking about Carson Hocevar again.
Absolutely not. If anything, like the opposite. I think he was extremely respectful in the way that he raced the final closing laps. And then even when Heim won, I mean, obviously they're teammates, but Reddick was very complimentary and congratulatory and celebrated with him, which again is a testament to how classy Reddick is. But I want to hear from the rest of the panel.
Did you guys lose respect?
No, I don't think there's no gentleman out there. I think that's more a veteran that knows that if we like, he probably knows that Heim is young and in P1 and is not gonna be the one that backs off. And sometimes, like, I think these guys know how much a DNF fucks them. It absolutely anchors their points and sends them down.
Yeah, in the chase. Yeah.
That Reddick's in first. He doesn't want a DNF, which I mean, I don't think he had a DNF, but he dropped down because of the tire. But regardless of that, I think it was just a Reddick kind of being like, I can beat this guy on the next 3 laps but I need to back off and kind of reset. And at the very worst, I get P2 and I got some cushion on the points. And I think it was more that, and just kind of realizing that Heim would not be the one that would do it.
I hear.
Yeah, I don't lose any respect. I mean, it's the way the season's set up. You have to make sure you finish.
So you think there's other drivers in the field that would have made that same move that Reddick did? Because as I see it, Reddick felt he wronged him, so he hit the reset button to then race clean afterwards. That's how I see it. And I don't know a lot of drivers who would do that.
Yeah, but also like the same thing is like that's a little bit what I think Bubba was telling Hocevar the other week. It's like sometimes you can't just keep going for every, like you have to pull back and race it the right way, and you'll end up, your car's good enough, you can get back up there. But no, I mean, I think there's an ounce of, when you're the same teammates, it's a little bit of respect, and it's also a little bit of like, let's not ruin everyone's day here.
Was it too much on your end, Moon? Did you see it being, hey, listen, let's race hard all the way through the end here? Is it something that you gained more respect or lost respect from Reddick? And do you think there's other drivers in the field who would have made the same move?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of older drivers probably would, and I think it being teammates and Reddick knowing it's his first win, and Reddick having 5 wins, like really a part-time guy winning that race and Reddick running second to him, that's basically a win to Reddick. It just doesn't come with the bonus points. So I don't think that it was a dumb move or it devalues a win or does anything like that. I think if anything, it shows that Reddick has the mental clarity to make those decisions in real time. You know, a lot of guys, even professional, good race car drivers panic at times. We see them do stupid things. Like Austin Hill won the race on Saturday, got the lead for 15 seconds on Sunday and killed half the field. You know what I mean?
Lost his fucking mind.
And he's a more than capable race car driver, I believe. So like, I think it just shows that Reddick is put together and has a championship mindset. So I think it was a good move, and it ended up not mattering at all because that tire was going to blow one way or another. So, I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, it's a moot point after the fact, but at the time, like as I was sitting there naked in my hotel bed, I was like, "What's he doing? Oh, he's being a nice guy. Like, who else would do that?" It was just great race all the way around, particularly if you're watching on TV. The last person we want to talk to about this race is the only person who we should be talking to about it, and that's Corey Heim. So we're about to go 3 wide with Corey Heim. It's brought to you by Cuervo. From the first lap till the checkered flag, there's only one choice. Winning on race day is all about momentum, and nothing matches the energy, excitement, and adrenaline quite like Cuervo. Whether you're at home, in the infield, or taking over the tailgate, Cuervo is the winning move that elevates any race into an occasion you'll remember. No matter who's in victory lane, you can win every race day from the first lap to the checkered flag. Keep it Cuervo. And with that, let's go to Corey Heim. All right, so as we spoke about earlier, we just had Corey Heim on a couple of weeks ago. I said, do me a favor, will you come back on after you win your first race? He said, absolutely, I will. Little did I know it was just going to be a couple of weeks later, and here he is back after winning his first Cup race. After only 13 starts, it's Corey Heim who's going to be wheeling the 6. Are you going to be? Will you have the 6-7 next year? Is that done?
I don't believe so. Unfortunately. We're making the most of it, though.
Okay, yeah, you certainly are. So it's Corey Heim. It's Heim time. Congratulations on the big win and such an epic display by the U.S. Navy, on a gigantic stage with the Amazon Prime crew that everybody loves, all that kind of stuff. Couldn't be a better chapter in the storybook that is becoming Corey Heim's driving career. So congratulations to you. We're all thrilled. How's it feeling to get that monkey off your back after 13 long weeks of driving in the Cup Series over a series of years to finally get that win? How's it feeling to be Corey Heim?
Yeah, I mean, it feels great. And as you mentioned, couldn't have done it at a cooler place. You know, that's a pretty unique deal we had going there. I saw you guys out there. Hope you guys had a cool time. I think that was a once in a lifetime opportunity for us. So just even being a part of that event was really cool. Being able to just commemorate the Navy, just being able to be on a naval base. I think that was just cool to begin with, something that's very unique and, you know, we don't really see every day, but to go out there and win, obviously just makes it so much cooler. You know, the post-race stuff was super cool. They had me on the aircraft carrier for the post-race interview. That was pretty badass. So hopefully we go back and hopefully we can do it again, but you know, pretty cool even if we don't.
I know when we talk to drivers on this show, a lot of times we'll come on and interview them following a win. And sometimes it's an unexpected win. And, you know, they give us the answer, hey, you know, we expect to win week after week after week. I'm curious if you share that same perspective. With only 13 Cup races, now obviously getting a win super early, how important has it been for that to be the case? And how do you pick your spots moving forward into the Cup Series as a part-time driver?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said we set our expectation to win every week. I think that's, you know, with being a part-time car and having, you know, the qualifying metric the way it is, typically like we're the first one to qualify, get buried for starting position in the race, and the pit selection is just brutal. So just kind of the reality of the situation is it's always going to be an uphill battle. But for San Diego, we didn't have that whole qualifying metric situation, and no one had ever seen the track before. So we were, you know, on an even playing field. Like everyone had, you know, kind of made their first laps at the same time other than the virtual simulator stuff. So I felt like that this was kind of my opportunity to go out there and shine and hopefully get a win. So, you know, obviously we were able to take advantage of it and do that. But going forward, I mean, unfortunately it's going to be kind of the same deal. Like we're going to be going out early and qualifying and more than likely not qualifying the best. And that's going to make it an uphill battle. But, you know, Nashville, I thought we had obviously the same circumstances with that. So we were able to make that almost a really good day till I made that mistake. So I think everyone knows that these cars have a ton of speed right now. So capitalizing on it is definitely our priority. And if that means going out and getting another win, I'm all for it.
Are you a road course ringer now? Like I'm trying to figure out listen, we do a little bit of betting on this show very responsibly and all that kind of stuff. I did not have you on my card. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm going to make that mistake again because I don't like to get burnt multiple times. I know there was a lot of stuff going on, and you mentioned the newness of the track. Austin Hill, you know, putting SVG and Connor, you know, into early retirement that day certainly helps out for the rest of the field and whatnot. But as far as road courses go, how much did you surprise yourself with being able to dominate that, particularly the way that you ran down Reddick at the end of the race and whatnot? You looked as sleek as any other road course racer that we've seen. Is Corey Heim now a road course ringer?
Yeah, I mean, the San Diego stuff definitely gave me an advantage just once again because no one had ever been on that racetrack. I mean, by no means do I expect to go to Watkins Glen next year and go out and dominate the race. You know, I think that's a place everyone's raced 100 times and can overanalyze it, and you know everyone's going to be almost perfect. Whereas San Diego, we're all just trying to figure the place out. You know what I mean? So, you know, all the cards kind of landed in the right place for me this weekend to have a really good opportunity to do that. But it was also my first road course start, so I'm still going to learn and get better. You know, I'd like to think that I could go to these more common road courses and compete at a high level. But I mean, I also, you know, I won my last 5 truck starts on road courses, so I feel like I'm not a slouch.
No big deal. No big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sit here and tell you I'm a slouch, but I don't think I'm going to go out and dominate by any means realistically on road courses. I think there's some other guys that are pretty good, but I'd like to think within years' time, I'd like to think that I could compete pretty well, yeah.
Speaking of truck series, I find it wildly interesting that it seems like there's a new trend for these young, emerging top prospects in the sport, whether it's yourself, whether it's Carson Hocevar, and now even potentially Lane Riggs, that kind of focus on going from truck straight to the Cup Series. And there's been a lot of discussion if those disciplines of racing are more similar than O'Reilly versus Cup Series. I'm curious to know where you stand in all of that, and if you think it will be a more popular trend moving forward to kind of go the approach you and some other guys did, where it was focused on trucks before waiting for an ideal Cup opportunity.
I mean, the realistic answer to that is, as a race car driver, unless you have a ton of family backing or sponsor backing, you really don't get to choose your route. It just so happens that there was no availability or open opportunities in Xfinity and from a full-time standpoint in my career. And that never led me to the Xfinity / O'Reilly level. So, I feel like guys that can kind of control their own destiny, that have a lot of family money or a lot of sponsor backing, can just kind of do it the right way, which I guess would be, do a couple years in truck, maybe a year or two in Xfinity. And if they're really good, they'll get a Cup ride. But a lot of the time it's just circumstantial. And you see guys like Lane Riggs with Front Row. I mean, they've only got a truck and a Cup team. So realistically, if they're loyal and he's loyal, he's probably just going to go that route. And then, if you're like me and, have had a decent amount of success in the trucks, and I'm 23 years old now, which is around the time that most guys get their first Cup shot, it's kind of time to go. And that's just the way it worked out for me.
What can we talk about with Carson Hocevar? I wonder whether or not, like, watching Connor battle SVG for years to come on road courses is something people are looking forward to. Having some sort of land war between Corey Heim and Carson Hocevar is also something that I'd be front row seats buying the popcorn. You guys have been a little bit playful on social media, and people have been eating it up. From a personal perspective, is that something where you're like, I'll take the smoke, or I like to fuck around on social media and have some fun with it? How much legitimate anger is there, or are you just sort of feeling it out at this point?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of everything. Truthfully, I'm not the biggest fan of the way he races people or races myself specifically, and I never really have been. And I think a lot of the field can attest to that. So I didn't mean to go in there and wreck him by any means, but when he was turning around looking at me, I wasn't mad either. So just part of it. And, it's kind of a perfect storm. It was racing for the win, and I feel like I went out there and did that and didn't win the race. It would have looked a little bit worse than it did, but at least I made it count. You know what I mean? But the social media stuff, that's just kind of fun banter. I mean, I'm not buddies with them by any means, so I'm definitely snapping back as a snapback, I guess. But it's just fun for me. But I definitely don't think we're going to be racing each other all the best in the future by any means.
Do you mind if I make a suggestion, and Spider can echo this sentiment? Barstool Sports has a little thing called Rough and Rowdy. It's an amateur boxing tournament. Spider does a lot of the taping for it. I'm one of the licensed referees in West Virginia. If you guys ever want to settle it with the gloves on, just know you have a place to come, and we'll set that thing up in a fucking heartbeat.
Okay. I like my odds in that one. So
I hear you. How about you being this truncated schedule? Every time somebody comes on and talks about their win, I'm like, how about we carry that momentum into Sonoma and let's see what we're going to do there? But because of this modified schedule, we're not going to see you again until Chicagoland, and then Brickyard, Daytona, Southern 500, Charlotte, and Homestead. So Spider and I will actually be at a couple of the races before you go. Is it frustrating to you now that you don't get to jump back in? Like, you just like, I just want to get going again? Or are you enjoying this shortened season because next week you're going to be one of those other 38 slobs that has to go 40 weeks in a row from fucking Valentine's Day almost to Thanksgiving?
No, I mean, of course I want to race, but it is kind of nice, not having to immediately start preparing for another road course. I mean, as you could probably guess, road course racing has the most preparation as far as just sim time and just kind of everything, meetings, sim time, the whole 9 yards there. So the fact that I can kind of just relax and, slowly start preparing for Chicago rather than just kind of bang, getting right back into it. It is kind of nice to get to, party, hang out with my friends and enjoy it. So I can kind of see both sides of it for sure.
Chicago Street Course not on the calendar this year. It was potentially coming back next year, but unfortunately a spot where you were unable to qualify due to an incident that happened. I'm curious to know how do you think you would have done in that race, given what we just saw you do in San Diego at a street course? You dominated. So I'm curious to know how upset you were that you didn't get to qualify, and how interested you would be in that track coming back to maybe future years calendar.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I hate to think that they're probably going to pick between Chicagoland or Chicago Street Course. I like them both. I wish we could have them both, and hopefully the market's big enough over there where we can do that. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, we failed to qualify for that race, but I thought we were pretty good. And a little bit of it comes back to that was my first time seeing that place, and kind of the San Diego aspect where, they were already in their third year of Chicago. So I maybe wasn't as good at that street course as I was at San Diego, just because everyone's sort of figuring it out for the first time. With that being said, I felt like we were pretty good in practice when we went there. And I was actually on a pretty decent qualifying lap when I tank slapped the wall and ruined my race, or my potential of starting a race. So it was a fun weekend regardless of that. It was my birthday weekend. So that was kind of a crap birthday for myself by any means. But yeah, I mean, I definitely like to see it come back. I like my odds that I can go out there and run pretty good. Maybe not quite as good as San Diego, but who knows? We'll see.
Following San Diego, what was the reaction internally at 2311? I saw you post race, I think the day following, at the San Diego Padres game with Denny and some of the Denny bros, which was great to see. I'm curious, did Michael Jordan have any feedback? And internally at 2311, how excited and what was the reception like following your win?
Yeah, it's funny people ask me about MJ because he texts me when I run 30th too. So it's like he's always texting me, regardless of whether it's a, hey, keep your head up type deal or hey, congrats type deal. So cool to, of course, hear from him after the race. And I think the internal reaction was great. I don't think anyone liked to see Tyler, finish as poorly as he did with kind of the points battle that's going on. So I could tell that was, you could tell that was kind of weighing on people a little bit. But at the same time, I think everyone was super happy for the 67 group. It hasn't been a, perfect year by any means for us. We've had about as many, issues, whether it's me making a mistake or a pit stop or something, going wrong just one way or another. It seems like every race we've kind of had one thing go wrong, but we've had speed all year. So to see, the internal reaction to us actually going out and putting a full race together and seeing what that looks like and what the potential was for us, I think everyone was just super happy to see that. And, it was a really cool experience for me.
Before he came on, we were trying to figure out who else would make a move like what Tyler Reddick had made towards the end of the race with you. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you would have done? Because we've always held Tyler almost to a higher level of classiness. I just think that guy, sun rises and sets in his ass, as far as I'm concerned, one of my favorite drivers. How do you feel about that move? And honestly, is that something that you would have done?
I actually do think it's something I would have done. Yeah. Okay. I'm a firm believer of I race people how they race me, and there's been times in my career where I've made that first move and it might have been overly aggressive. And I feel like I'm pretty square when it comes to when people pay me back. I see both sides of it, and I can weigh both sides and feel like, okay, that was, acceptable or not. Me and Tyler personally never had a problem, and I passed him completely clean. He kind of dirted me up a little bit. He doored me the corner before and then doored me again, put me in the wall. And I felt like, I don't know if he knows my racing etiquette or kind of how I, view that kind of things, but like I viewed that as, hey, I owe you one now. But then he let me by, and then okay, it's square again. You know what I mean? We're good. So it does put me in a bit of a pickle that I couldn't really pay back a teammate racing for a title, and with the point situation, he's got everything, or just a teammate in general. We just try not to do that here at 2311. I think we all have a really good respect for one another. But yeah, I mean, if it was anyone else from a different manufacturer or whatever, if they doored me once and then put me in the fence the next corner, I mean, I was fuming at that point. Racing for a win with 3 to go, I was going to pay you back. So once again, not ideal situation racing a teammate, but he gave it back to me and called it even there. So that was really cool. We didn't have to do that, so that was the best part about it, that he was the bigger person in that situation and gave it back to me. So props to him for that.
I think moving into the future, Corey, you're going to become a role model for a lot of young kids who are race fans, maybe not even race fans, maybe that watch a one-off event in San Diego and fall in love with the sport. But you mentioned something before in the interview that I thought was admirable and refreshing. And that's the fact that you kind of did things your own way. You didn't rely on family money or kind of second generation handouts. And you kind of were patient and picked your spots and relied on things like loyalty and talent. So I guess my question is for those kids watching that may be fans of the 67 car or the 35 car, whatever car you're wheeling, what would you say advice-wise to those kids who may want to follow in similar footsteps, who don't have the family backing or the multiple generations of success before them?
Yeah, for me, the number one thing's always just been surrounding myself with the right people. I felt like when I first started ARCA racing, I was with a team that was pretty successful, but I just didn't really feel like I was super accepted into that program, and just didn't seem like there was a great pathway for me going forward. Made the switch to Venturini Motorsports with Toyota in 2020, just on a part-time basis. I think I ran 7 races. I was already 18 years old, so I was kind of behind a lot of the guys that I grew up racing with and that were going to full-time trucks and stuff already. But I just instantly felt like Toyota was a really good home for me. And, I feel like there was times in my career where I still felt behind, or maybe the opportunity to run in a full-time series wasn't quite there yet. But I just always had a feeling that these are the right people to be around. I trusted my gut. And sure enough, I went all the way kind of through the pipeline from ARCA to Cup, and I'm racing full-time next year. So I think loyalty is a really big thing in this sport, but it's just got to be with the right people. If you just have a feeling that you're just not in the right spot, or people aren't treating you the right way, or just don't want you to succeed, you kind of got to go with your gut and make that switch. And that's something I had to do at a pretty young age. Is a tough decision, but it's been just a great slide ever since. So that was a good decision on my part, I feel like.
Surrounding yourself with the right people. We just mentioned how Denny has 10 wins this season, 4 as a driver, 6 as an owner. So he's obviously one of the right people to be someone who wants to be involved with you. But let's get even a little more granular. Booty Barker. I just love seeing Booty up on a pit, whatever. And Booty Barker is a great name for a strip club, by the way. Hey, let's go to the Booty Barker. But also a great name for a crew chief. I just love everything about the guy. As you form a relationship with him, and all of a sudden you grab your first win with him, which is one of the more special moments of your career, something you're always going to remember. How far will that relationship go? How instrumental has he been? Or is Corey Heim the type of guy who sits down with anybody up in that pit box and he's able to perform?
No, I mean, you got to give Booty his
awesome.
I mean, he is awesome. Yeah. When he came off of Bubba's car full time, I think that was his last year was in 24. I ran part-time in 25 with him, and then part-time this year, of course. When he came off that car full-time in 24, I didn't know like where his head was going to be, if he was going to be motivated or just was kind of doing it to do it or whatever. But he is like the most fired up, motivated guy you've ever met in your life. I mean, this guy wants to succeed. He wants to work hard. He does more than just a crew chief. Of course, he's a part-time crew chief, but he does a lot for the shop in general. So I think everyone just loves working for him. And I think everyone was really pumped up to see that happen. And he gives me like so much credit. It's almost funny. Like it's almost like I can do no wrong in his eyes. But, there's been so many times this year where I've taken the team out of it or just done something stupid. And he's just always like, hey, man, like you're doing everything right. Just keep your head in it, the whole 9 yards. And, I feel like he keeps my confidence up pretty good. So he's the ultimate leader. I mean, he is awesome, truly.
Has there been a moment in your 23XI tenure that's been the hardest, or a day that was like the toughest challenge for you that you're like, damn, this is way more than I anticipated? Especially, I mean, you made it look easy, your transition into the Cup Series. We just got done saying with a Cup Series win after just 13 starts in the series, where usually it takes guys closer to 100. But has there been, you made it all look so easy. Has there something you've been struggling with in that time?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chicago, like we talked about earlier, that was probably number one for me. It was like my second or third ever Robin Hood race. And we had like every exec there and like their whole, basically like upper management in their company at the race, and got them like custom sneakers and stuff. And everyone was so fired up. And then we were, obviously I missed the race in qualifying, and it was my birthday. So like that was just, I mean, brutal. I didn't want to even like go to the racetrack the next day. I flew home early just to like, go and crawl into the ball and get over it. So that definitely sucked. I mean, there's been hard days for sure. I mean, Cup racing is absolutely no joke. These guys are super good, as you can imagine. But I mean, that one definitely surpasses every other kind of bad day I've had. That was a brutal one. Probably the worst one in my career, if I had to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Spider, we were talking earlier, though, about how the big three look like they're becoming the big four or maybe the big five. If you're a 23-year-old kid, I'm no longer talking to you, Corey. Spider, if you're a 23-year-old kid, don't you want to race for 23XI? Don't you want to have like a different pair of fucking Jordans in your locker every week? Like,
Yeah.
Corey, do you see that? Like, as most people are like, okay, I'll jump in any ride and I'll show them what I can do in this equipment, and then hopefully I can jump up to another ride. But are you that prescient, because you're wise beyond your years, to be like, no, I'm jumping onto something and I'm building a juggernaut here at 23XI? Is that the feeling around the shop? Because it's certainly the feeling that we're getting as spectators.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, this is the future. I mean, I've always felt like that. I've worked with other Cup teams on like a simulator or a backup level, and I just have not gotten the same vibe as far as like, this is where I want to make my career, happen, and this is where I want to invest my future. And I've turned down full-time Cup rides to be part-time here because I knew that this is where I wanted to be for the future, and I kind of bet on myself. I mean, this facility, Airspeed, is incredible, and I feel like the owners, Denny and MJ, like, they are investing heavily in this race team and they want to win championships, and funny enough, so do I. So this is definitely the place I want to be. And yeah, like you said, I mean, I've definitely thought in the back of my head, like, I cannot mess this up, and I've been working super hard to make the most of it. And this past weekend has definitely helped with that situation, I think, a little bit. So that's been a great start.
Yeah, it's certainly been a great start. One thing we always ask the drivers when they come on the show is if they could add and remove one track from their schedule, what they would pick. You can add anything. Maybe it's something that you raced on the Truck Series that the Cup Series does not race on. But if you could run a race this year, I guess I'm only going to ask you to add one. If you could add any racetrack to the NASCAR Cup Series schedule for next year, where's Corey Heim picking?
Man, that's a tough question. I had one racetrack. I mean, there's racetracks in the like short tracks in the United States that are really good, but I hate to say it, but the Cup short track package is kind of lame right now. So I feel like that's kind of a tough one to pick for the Cup Series. Man, I'd probably pick another road course. I mean, I feel like somewhere out in Europe, I mean, I feel like Monza would be cool, like maybe Barcelona, something like that. If we could race on Le Mans, that would be super cool. I can't pick one. I'm flustered here, but man, something out in Europe, like something international. I mean, I feel like Mexico City was a cool thing for everybody when we were there, but the travel was kind of like not worth it. But if we're going to like Europe or something, or just somewhere out in like, a really historic racetrack, and we could kind of get to a different fan base, I think that'd be awesome. I can't pick one right now, but
yeah, that sounds lovely. Monza, Monaco, anywhere. I mean, damn, Europe. I was thinking somewhere domestic, but I love where your head's at, Corey.
I was going to pick a short track in like Decatur or something like that.
Yeah, I thought maybe like
I'm a big Winchester Speedway fan in Indiana. That's always been my favorite track. I mean, that'd be really cool, but I just don't get the vibe that a Cup car would race all that good there. We've raced ARCA there, and it was a good race and everything, but I would just hate to bring us somewhere where we're going to kind of stink up the show a little bit. So
yeah,
Winchester's a badass racetrack. Highly recommend watching a race there if you haven't already. That's a cool one.
But it's on record. Now that you got the company corporate card, you're like, let's go to fucking Monaco. You know what I'm saying, Spider?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Holy shit. All right, well, we're going to let you go because you're, by the way, you could celebrate for 2 weeks. Doesn't matter, right? You don't get anything to do this weekend. But congratulations to Corey von Heimsbergen on your first win in only 13 starts, the first of many to come. You're looking at the future of NASCAR right there. The next time you're going to see him is going to be July 5th at Chicagoland Speedway. Thank you so much, Corey, for carving out some time for us, and we'll see you at the track.
Thank you, guys. Good talking to you guys as always.
All right, so that was Corey Heim. Wonderful kid. He is going to give back whatever he fucking gets. I think the Heim Hocevar thing is for real, and I'm looking forward to how that thing works out. And just all around, that kid is wise beyond his years. Extremely impressed with that young man, so I'm happy that he's in that situation. Let's look forward to see what we got this weekend. No trucks this week. They pick up again at Lime Rock. But for O'Reilly, we have the Pit Boss Food Max 250. It's 5:30 p.m. Eastern is when coverage starts on the CW. That's going to be on Saturday. You have Connor Zilic, SVG, and Ross Chastain are in the field. They'll be pulling double duty this weekend. And then the Toyota Save Mart 350 on Sunday at 3:30. Coverage starts on TNT. And Shane Van Gisbergen is an overwhelming favorite right away again, which obviously we can see why. So there's nothing left for us to do but to make some picks here. And Picking the Tire is brought to you by DraftKings. This summer, the Cup is taking over the U.S., and only DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets, bringing the game straight to your fingertips wherever you are. From Florida to Texas to California, you're in on the excitement at the speed of sports. Follow every group stage upset, every knockout round thriller, every stoppage time moment that flips the whole tournament. Sweat all the matches you love in real time with a seamless experience built for the world's biggest stage. No matter where you're watching, you're always connected and in the game with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code RUBBIN. Spend $5 and get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code RUBBIN. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. How do you guys feel about Sonoma this week?
I'm excited to watch it. I'll tell you what. I think this might be Connor Zilic's best opportunity recently.
He needs a good finish here.
Yeah, he does. But yeah, who wants to start here? I need still.
I only got two. So
I can start. I got a boring.
Oh, go ahead.
Solo pick SVG minus 150.
Okay.
I think he just goes out there and wins it.
Okay. I got two. I got Connor Zilic a top 3 finish plus 250, and Tyler Reddick the race winner at plus 850. And that the Tyler Reddick is the mojo thing. I think he's got some good mojo behind him with last week. So I'll take Connor top 3, Tyler to win. Spider, how do you feel about it?
I got one play that I love, and I'm really having a hard time understanding how this guy's odds are this high. But give me Chase Elliott 35-1. He's currently the second best driver in Sonoma since 2023 in 3 races there. His most 3 recent races, he's finished within the top 5 all 3 times. Plus 3,500, that seems crazy high for him. And I like that. Also, Christopher Bell, I know there's a lot going on with Bell right now, but he's plus 4,500, and he's the 4th best driver. He has 3 top 10s in his last 3 races, including 1 top 5. He's the 4th best driver in Sonoma since 2023. Maybe a little sprinkle on those guys, and Connor Zilic for a top 5 plus 115. That's where I'm at. I'm thinking outright on those guys, although honestly, a top 5 for Elliott and a top 5 for Elliott is plus 425, and a top 5 for Bell is plus 550. Add those to my card as well. Those seem pretty juicy. I'm not sure Elliott or Bell can win the race, but they have certainly been running good here recently.
Do we know if Bell's going to do the full race again?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't know if I'd be putting any money in.
You know what?
That didn't work out. I mean, Brent Cruz, it wasn't his fault. I believe it was a mechanical issue, but holy shit, that didn't work out as the way they wanted it to.
Chase Elliott's my main guy this week.
Okay. I didn't mean to call you out on that, Spider. I just know.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, it's TBD on what Christopher Bell, how good he's going to be, if it will be him. Are they going to do another driver swap? We don't really know. My point is, those odds are high for a guy who's seemingly been good here. And I think this is a little bit. I'm not a driver. I probably should have asked Corey Heim this. On paper, or at least from where I sit on TV, maybe it seems like Sonoma's a little bit easier of a track, like in terms of physical strain on your body, than something like San Diego would be. But again, that's just me talking out of my ass. I don't really know.
No, I think you're 100% correct. They said that San Diego is one of the most challenging courses that they've ever driven in the NASCAR circuit.
Yeah.
So from a physical perspective, and if it was higher temps, those guys would have been fucked. So I think that your point is valid, and maybe Christopher Bell is 100%. And if he is, then I think that he's certainly worth the flyer to be somewhere in the top 5. Moon, anything jump out at you in the field this week?
Not really, aside from SVG and Zilic.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I'm going to try and look at like top 10s and stuff, but we can do that all after qualifying a little later this week. Alrighty, guys. So like and subscribe, please. Thank you very much to Corey Heim for spending some time with us. And we'll see you guys next week on Revenues Racing.
Peace.